All right, let's jump right into what is honestly an incredibly dense and fascinating literary journey. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're unpacking a really conceptual story called The Complete Mythology of Being Human. We're following a protagonist known simply as the Walker. Imagine this. He wakes up on a beach, totally amnesiac, sand in his mouth, and a weird brand on his shoulder. And his job isn't just to survive the elements, he has to survive 5 entirely incompatible, overwhelming cosmic worldviews that are all literally fighting for control over him.
It's going to be a wild, contradictory, and deeply cosmic ride. But don't worry, we've got a map. We'll be covering the 5 skies, fate and absolute order, rebellion and divine imagination, the angelic indifference, the human fracture, and finally, the still point. We're going to see exactly how the Walker discovers that true transcendence isn't about escaping his messy humanity, but actually fully embracing it.
Section 1. The 5 skies, cosmologies in collision. We kick things off with our hero waking up, bearing that brand of 3 interlocking circles. But more importantly, he has this metaphysical knot sitting right in his chest. It's made of 5 tangled threads, and those threads represent the 5 different skies or cosmologies that are simultaneously trying to dictate his every move.
Now here's why this matters to us. The Walker isn't just some fantasy character. He's actually a brilliant metaphor for, well, you and me. Think about it. As modern humans, we are constantly trying to juggle totally competing worldviews, right? We're supposed to be perfectly logical, deeply empathetic, fiercely independent, and incredibly community-minded, all at the exact same time. The Walker is literally the embodiment of that pressure, trying to hold all those competing truths inside one mortal body without completely shattering.
And this brings us to the maps of the universe our guy has to navigate. He has to journey through 5 distinct philosophical rings. You've got Homer's realm of raw fate and glory, then Dante's architecture of absolute justice, Milton's paralyzing war of conscience, Blake's fiery furnace of internal imagination, and finally, Rilke's terrifyingly silent, indifferent cosmos. It's kind of like having 5 incredibly demanding bosses screaming at you all at once. Let's see how he handles the first ones.
Section 2. Fate and absolute order, the external authorities. This is where we combine the blood-soaked survival of Homer's ring with the absolute, rigid architecture of Dante's cosmos. In this phase, the Walker has to deal with forces that impose their rules strictly from the outside in.
Just look at the massive contrast here. In Homer's chaotic world of fate, the Walker impulsively saves a condemned man named Kyle from execution. It's a messy, deeply human, instinctual choice that binds their fates together. But then, he crosses the river into Dante's universe, and suddenly, that messy human intuition is totally rejected. Dante's world is this terrifyingly precise system of spiritual categorization. Every single action is weighed on a cosmic scale, and any kind of moral ambiguity gets punished.
To survive this, the Walker literally has to descend through the concentric circles of hell, seeing these horrific, perfectly mirrored punishments for every possible human sin. The crazy part? He manages to refuse being categorized or placed permanently in any one circle. He then climbs the grueling mountain of purgatory, enduring the purifying fire. But when he gets to the very top and looks at paradise, he realizes something crucial. Just understanding this rigid map isn't enough. He has to keep moving.
Every step is a judgment. Every breath is weighed. Imagine carrying that heavy burden from Dante's ring, that constant, crushing feeling that you're forever being measured. It pushes him right to a breaking point, transitioning us into the internal fires of the next cosmologies, where all that external order just gets violently thrown out the window.
Section 3. Rebellion and Divine Imagination, the Internal Fires. Leaving that absolute external order behind, the Walker crosses a bridge and steps onto a permanent battlefield. Now, angels and demons are locked in Milton's eternal war of conscience, and he's forced to choose: absolute obedience to a higher power or radical, agonizing freedom.
But our guy refuses to pick a side in Milton's paralyzing war. Instead, he runs straight through the crossfire and plunges directly into Blake's cosmos. And this place is wild. It's a realm of chaotic, brilliantly colored furnaces. Here, he meets the prophet Los, who essentially tells him, hey, you don't need to bow to external gods because you are divine. In Blake's world, human imagination is the absolute highest power.
Burn away their chains. Blake's cosmos fiercely insists that all those external categories from Dante and Milton are just prisons. Los is urging him to burn it all to the ground. But the Walker realizes something really smart here. If he burns down all the structures, he loses the other rings too. He'd basically just be swapping one prison for another. So he decides to do the incredibly difficult thing. He chooses to hold the contradictions without destroying the map.
Which brings us to Section 4, the angelic indifference, the vast emptiness. Completely exhausted by the roaring fires of creation, the walker steps off a cliff and falls upward into Rilke's angelic sky. And this is totally different. It's not a fiery hell or a battlefield, it's a void of absolute, terrifying cosmic indifference. The angels here are so vast and perfect that they literally don't even notice he exists.
You can be small and still sing. Faced with his own absolute insignificance, knowing the universe is going to go on perfectly well without him, he feels like he might just dissolve. But he learns a profound lesson. His job isn't to be the center of the universe. His task is to witness this terrible beauty, to feel the briefness of his own life, and to sing the visible world into the invisible before he's gone. It's all about finding deep meaning in how temporary we are.
Section 5. The human fracture, the breakdown. Now, as you can imagine, trying to hold 5 completely incompatible heavens inside one fragile mortal body comes with a huge cost, and this triggers the climax of the story, Ring 6, known as the Knot. This is where all 5 of these cosmologies compress into a single, unbearable point right inside his chest.
His mind violently starts to fracture. I am fated, he feels, as the heavy, inescapable weight of Homer's destiny pulls him down. At the exact same time, I am judged. Dante's architecture is just screaming in his ear that he's constantly being categorized and condemned.
Then, I am free. Milton's battlefield demanding he take crushing, absolute responsibility for every single choice he's ever made.
I am creator. Blake's furnace is roaring with this chaotic energy, insisting he's a god of his own making.
And finally, I am insignificant. Rilke's silent void reminding him he's nothing but temporary dust. Every single one of these realities is hitting him at the exact same moment.
So how does he survive this without shattering? He's forced to step away from the cosmic scale entirely. He literally opens a mundane wooden door and confronts his actual, messy human history. He has to face the real people he hurt, a boy named Pyrrhos he killed in a rage, a woman named Kala he abandoned. He finally realizes the grand cosmologies are just the map, but his flawed, deeply contradictory human life, that is the territory. The map might be clean, but the territory is what's actually real.
Section 6. The still point, the synthesis. Once he actually integrates his human shadow, accepting that he is simultaneously a monster and a savior, a coward and a hero, he reaches the final rings. He takes all that pain and beauty and sings his experience into art, setting the stage for the end of his journey.
He uses the tools of expression to create a living testament of everything he's been through, eventually arriving at the exact center of the universe, the still point. Here, all 5 heavens pull at him equally, in perfect balance. He's offered a massive choice: stay here and become a permanent, safe cosmic myth, or go back to the real, painful world. And he refuses that false binary entirely. He chooses to return to the real world as a mortal, but carrying that complete cosmic map right inside him.
I don't have to choose between cosmic and human. I be both. By accepting that he's a temporary, vulnerable mortal who can simultaneously hold the infinite, contradictory heavens without needing to resolve them, the walker is finally whole. It's an incredibly empowering realization about just how much complexity we can hold as human beings.
So, as we wrap up our explainer today, I want to bounce this back to you. Think about how you navigate the competing mythologies in your own life. Which sky do you live in? And are you trying to fit your beautifully messy human territory into a map that is just too small to hold you? Are you letting one rigid map define you, or are you brave enough to hold all the contradictions and claim your beautifully messy territory? Thanks for joining me on this deep dive. Keep questioning your maps, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.